Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our Dungeon Boss Hero Rune Guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at how you want to rune up Agnon. So Agnon is definitely one of the more powerful heroes in the game, and I suggest heavily that you use him, and you'll see why in a little bit. But let's say we have this scenario going on here, and you want to, make your heroes a little bit better. So you're trolling along, you're doing your regular old raid, and you get to one that you feel like you can beat, and it's like, oh, simple team, easy enough, I'll just pull Agnon, he'll go ahead and he'll gank Jin on the first turn, yada yada yada. You queue up your raid, and you realize you're committed to it, so let me pick Agnon in here. Something like this. Fair warning, this is my normal team that I use here. This team works very well against a lot of teams. But this is just the for instance to get started with in terms of how or why you want to rune up Agnon the way that you do. So you get into your dungeon and then it's like, alright, oh, wait a minute. We have a taunt on Lily, and now we can't use Agnon to one-shot Jin. Jin's going to get some pot shots in there, and he might totally derail your raid. Now, it's not just Jin, for example. There's a lot of raids where I want to possibly take out Valken first, or possibly take out Ponti first, just because Valken gets a lot of extra attacks from all of his posse. Things like Doombolt is a big deal with Ponti and him destroying one of my people, and then obviously Solaris doesn't res. So we end up basically this first turn here, and we use our ability with Agnon, and then something happens and he gets killed, and then it slows down your progression. Or if you're a brave soul, unlike myself, and you run Agnon on a team that doesn't have Solaris, and he dies right away, then that's kind of a waste of an Agnon. But anyways, the reason I use this team here is because of the Festive Furnace. Takes care of a lot of people, and I also have Furnace that has the ability to possibly purge a buff on hit. So the goal here then is, if you look at this, Agnon has Hardened Assault open up on the first turn. That should give you a very good indication of how you want to rune him right from the start. Reason being, he started off in terms of his Granite form, makes him very impervious to a lot of stuff. We use this on the first turn, back to Granite form, and now he's still safe for another round. There are a few people that can undo that and ultimately kill him, but he's generally very, very safe. And so that BS taunt that was on Lily in the first turn, that purges off, and lo and behold, we just have to do some basic stuff here, get to Agnon's turn. I'll just do a quick taunt with Furnace just for the sake of doing it. And here we are with Agnon. Now we can take out Jin. And so the order of this one here will go ultimately to kill Valken and then the Dagrand. But Lily is generally left for last. In this case, Valken's going to be last because of the aversion. Fair warning, the aversion rune is probably the single biggest destroyer of this method that I just used here. So it doesn't ruin the raid altogether, but if Jin does have an aversion rune, so hint hint, those of you that are looking to rune up people, aversion rune on Jin is very, very awesome, because if the longer he sticks around, the more potent he is, and that's why almost every raid that I do focuses on killing Jin first. So when I run into Jin with the aversion rune, it's never usually a good thing. So I'm going to finish this one up, and then I will go into the rune detail that I have for Agnon and why I think you should have one way versus another. So there's also, while I'm finishing up, there's also a reason why I'm choosing to do this particular video now and not, any other day of the week or time of the year or whatnot. And that's because of the event what we're doing right now, which is the Rune Mania. So you have the ability right now to craft some runes that you're not going to be able to craft anywhere else. And so we want you to have the flexibility to create the festive runes that you need, because clearly that's what I was using here in terms of making Agnon the way that he was. Stupid Oak Form Lily. Oak Form Lily obviously cannot be one shot, but Agnon is pretty much a one shot machine these days. He's one of the very, very few heroes in the game that can essentially one shot anybody. So he can pretty much one-shot anybody except for Furnace, another Oak Form Agnon, or Oak form Lily, Granite form Agnon. There's maybe a few other people that don't work out. He misses Arya quite a bit, but he can kill just about anybody in one hit. So let's go out and look at what I'm going to suggest for Agnon and why I think you should run things this way. So I know that Agnon can be a glass cannon, and I strongly encourage you to embrace that notion. Don't get carried away with an aversion rune unless you have a backup plan. Because if you put an aversion rune on here, nobody's going to go after him. With the team that I use almost all the time, I have Furnace, Agnon, Solaris, and Valken. Solaris and Valken both have aversion runes on them, so that means all those first couple of attacks are getting diverted to Agnon and Furnace. If I didn't have aversion on Agnon, that allows those people to attack him, and then when he's in Granite form, that's good news for me. It saves Furnace from getting pounded, whereas if I had aversion on all three of those guys and everything was directed at Furnace, Furnace would be dead in the first round every single raid because everything would be going his direction. So how do we rune him? In this case here, I have extra attacks, so attack, defense, and then the possibility to get extra attacks. That's also a nice little gift for you in terms of if you get a double attack every now and then. I have one festive rune there, it's an attack-based one. I have another one that adds possible attack. There's my second festive rune, and it only takes 2 festive runes to get hardened assault. The energy cost is 3. That means on the third turn, this one's going, or on the first turn, this one's going to be up with 2 festive runes. You basically take the energy cost and subtract 1, and that's how many festive runes you need. So it's very, very easy to manage his abilities. On top of that, Terror Storm, it gains 1 energy when you use it. So when you use this in progression, if you keep Agnon alive long enough, you can use Hardened Assault the first turn, Plummeting Doom the second turn, Terror Storm the third term, and then just like that, Hardened Assault and Plummeting Doom are right back up on the 4th and 5th turn. It's an absolutely amazing progression, and if you keep him alive long enough, he just keeps on pounding out the damage. That's why we want to do Glass Cannon. I don't recommend doing defensive Agnon. That just seems like a waste of his talents. So again, you could technically put an aversion rune on him if you really want to. I don't recommend it personally. If you put the taunt rune on him, the taunt is going to be wasted because the taunt doesn't persist through the Granite form like it does with Oak form, so that gets ultimately wasted. So depending on what runes you need, like I said, you could craft a couple of runes during this event that are ultimately going to give you the festive quality that you need. In this case here, obviously, the more attack you have, the better. So if you don't have attack-based water runes, I recommend trying to put your festive runes here if you want, if you can. My preference for the water rune, though, is actually an Unbreakable Heart rune. The reason being, there's a weird quirk that happens with Agnon, and I didn't see it in this raid here because he didn't die. But that first time around, he dies, and then he throws his little cogs, whatever that thing is here. I think that's something that Furnace gives him. When a construct dies and it throws those gears and stuff at them. But he does that, but then he sprouts back to life. So you get 2 variations of that. It's really nice for some of those casters that will gank him, or things like Arya, because if Arya does a whole bunch of damage to him, he will spit back those gears at her and sometimes kill her outright with that retaliation. So the Unbreakable Heart is a really handy one for him specifically because of how that feature works. So I highly recommend building one of these if you can. But other than that, you need 2 festive runes, and then wherever you can put on the rest of the attack. It said the extra attack chances are nice, but you could really put any other neat stuff on here if you really want to. It depends on what sort of stuff you got. He's obviously not going to be beneficial from the Enabler rune because he doesn't have his epic yet. But some of those other ones, it's up to you if you want to actually use those. But I find this makeup has been extremely beneficial for me. The only thing that I might consider is ultimately this here is trying to get rid of the Superior and get those 2 things as being elites. Haven't really gotten around to that one. And because this one here is a defensive base rune, which I don't put a lot of defense on him in the first place, this ultimately could be really even a greater for all I care, because all I care about is the Unbreakable Heart piece. It does give me a little boost to the attack. If you bought the Aversion rune and you want to use that, there's a great one in the shop right now. I highly recommend anybody get this. It's expensive as hell, but buy this if you can, because it's a dual attack water rune, and it's an Aversion rune, so you can put this on anybody, but buy that rune if you can. So if you have anybody else that you want a recommendation on runing for, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, we will see you again next time. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.